Go ahead.
Hey everybody, welcome to EduMatch. Thank you so much for joining us. So we are in the middle of our EduSnap 17 Authors Bonanza Part 1. So we have here with us today awesome contributing authors. We have Christy, Cate, and Cathy. Welcome ladies to EduMatch special episode Authors Bonanza episode number 2. Great to
Yay!
see you all. Yes, super excited to dive into the conversation and to chat with y'all. All know anyone who might be watching right now, we are in the middle of a Where's Waldo game. So as I trek down 95, kind of pulling over for these to speak with these awesome ladies, and super excited to have them on. So their chapter is phenomenal. Honor to have them both here. So let me Cathy and about Christy in case you don't already know them. So Cathy first began teaching in 1980, then jumped to the business world for 14 years before returning to the classroom. She has a unique instructional experience in that she teaches a multi-level ESL class for adults in Grand Haven, Michigan. Her students include a wide range of ages, cultures, first languages, and educational backgrounds. She has a passion for supporting students to reach their learning goals and embraces a flexible teaching style that is open to whatever works. She also loves technology and is committed to infusing technology into her classes in a way that enhances her students' learning. In December 2015, she expanded her professional learning network by joining Voxer groups, mostly populated with K-12 educators. So that is Cathy. Now, Christy grew up in a family of educators and vowed that education would not be her destiny. But God, however, had other plans for her, and after first starting out in the business world, she found herself finally at home in a classroom in 1997. Her business background gave her an edge in technology use when tech tools hit the schools. She eventually became an instructional technologist and currently serves as a digital innovation consultant for 42 rural school districts in Texas. By chance, she happened in October of 2014 and stepped onto the Voxer ride herself. So glad that both of you.
Sarah, we're glad to be here. I think we lost you, but yes, Cathy and I are very glad to be here. And if Sarah jumps back in, that will be great. I would like everybody out there to know that this particular moment right now is actually the very first time that Cathy and I have ever had any video face-to-face interaction. And so we have been friends now for well over a year because of our Voxer experience. And we actually had a great time writing this chapter together, but we did it all through Voxer and through Google Docs chat. And so this is exciting. We're very glad to see each other for the first time.
Yeah, really.
And Sarah's back. Yay.
Hi, Sarah. I see two Sarahs.
Yeah, so it's so great to have you back here. Yes, so thank you so much for jumping in with that. So, all right, so ladies, so let's go ahead and jump into the conversation. So, what is your background and who or what inspired you to go into education? So whoever wants to go first, go ahead and take it.
Go ahead, Cathy.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, it was my 3rd and 4th grade teacher. And when I was in, I don't remember, I think it was 2nd and 3rd and then a 3rd and 4th split. And I had already learned all of the material from the previous grade, even though it was a mixed grade. And a little girl came from the Netherlands and didn't speak any English, 0 English. So my teacher, her name was Mrs. Lewis, she said, Cathy, would you like to teach Willie English? And I said, well, sure. So she and I would go to the back of the room. There was a huge blackboard. In those days, it was blackboards. I don't even know if they exist anymore. And I taught her English when I was 8 years old or 9 years old. And that experience was so powerful for me, especially contrasted with some of the difficult life experiences I was having as a child, let's put it that way, that it just stuck with me. And I had no idea. I forgot about that experience. And then years and years later, due to a series of, I went into elementary ed, to make a long story short. Did not like elementary ed because it was more like managing behavior than teaching. And I wasn't given the freedom to work with the kids in the way they needed to be helped. So I ended up getting a part-time job assisting in an adult ed ESL class. And within 6 weeks, I was promoted to teacher. And I don't think I've ever turned back, except for 14 years I spent in business. So, and I just love it. And I think, that's very clear to me where my passion comes from. It was from those early experiences.
I actually grew up in a schoolhouse. My father was a principal where his father had been a principal.
Oh, wow.
And my grandmother had been a teacher, and my mom was a teacher, and my older brother was a coach, and his wife was a teacher. And so I knew education. It was in my blood. It was what I felt comfortable around. But I also knew that they didn't make any money. And as a growing up girl, I was determined that I was going to do something different. But the thing is, I was born to teach. And as many things as I was doing in the business world, I found myself doing what I could to try to teach someone else to do some of the job that I was doing. And it just, I kept being reeled back in and pulled back in. And once I accepted that calling and jumped into education, all the different facets and things that I have learned as a lifelong learner has enabled me to enjoy the field and feel like I'm in the right place at the right time. Love it.
Yeah. That is awesome. So you all have had quite a journey. So I'm glad that both of you are here and rocking and rolling, just making a difference for students everywhere. So in becoming a connector in your journey with that.
Say that again, Sarah.
Sorry, I'm saying, like, when it comes to being a connected educator, then what has been your journey in connecting with other educators?
Journey to be a connected educator. I'll start, Kathy. For me, honestly, I'll have to attribute that to Alan November in 2010, who encouraged me at a workshop I was with him to get on Twitter. And connected educator and collaborating, those are watchwords, I think, so that almost have become cliche to the people who don't understand the concept behind it. But those of us who have jumped in with both feet realize we can't be educators without being connected to each other. That the exponential growth because of that moment for me of jumping into Twitter, which led to Google Plus, to LinkedIn, to Facebook concepts. Even though I don't have Facebook, I have heard so many educators who love that. To finally jumping into Voxer has given me so many resources that professional development in the traditional sense is almost non-existent for me, because my growth has come from other educators building me up and giving me resources and ideas and encouragement all along the way. So I can't even begin to say enough good things about connection.
Yeah.
Great. And how about you?
How did you collaborate and connect first, Kathy?
Well, I don't know if it was 3 or 4 years ago. I needed credits to get my professional certificate renewed, and I found out that our district had PD available, and it was a blend of, you had to go down to the ISD building for some of the classes, and you met other teachers, which was really cool. But then a lot of it was online, and we had to collaborate we used Moodle, and I really loved that. But when the class was over, it was over, and you didn't get a chance. You didn't stay connected. So, but through that experience, I explored a lot of different technology, different apps, different ways of getting social media that were part of the course, and somehow. And I was on Twitter, but I wasn't that active. Oh, and I went to some ed camps. But I didn't use Twitter that much. And somehow, I don't know where, but I got this tweet telling me about Ed Camp EduMatch in 2015, it had to be. And it was over the holiday, the Christmas holiday. And I thought, I really want to do this. And because I loved the ed camps I had been to. So I got on it, and then I found out about Voxer, and that I have never looked back. And I cannot imagine can't even imagine life before Voxer. My professional life, it was so slow and so limited. And now with Voxer, that's the main one that I use. I do use Twitter as well, but I prefer Voxer. And with I can't. It's so much more effective than any other PD I've ever had or done that I can't really even put it into words, because it's daily. It's more than daily. I just put something out on Voxer this morning, and Christy, you answered it about the prefixes and the suffixes. But I get answers. I can move ahead. And, I've also found out that I can help other people, which is, really awesome. So did that answer the question?
That's excellent.
Oh yeah, that is great. That is great. So I have to say that I truly enjoy connecting with both of you, and I agree 100%. Like whenever there's a question, we throw it out there. And I have to say, Christy, you are very resourceful, and you always have the answer to lots of things. And Cathy, you are such an encourager, and I mean, just the two of you being in EduMatch is just phenomenal, phenomenal. All right, so switching gears to your chapter specifically. So we've already kind of talked about it a little bit, but you both are you're co-contributing authors in the upcoming EduSnap 17. So what can people expect to read in your chapter?
Sarah, I was privileged enough to contribute a chapter to the first edition of the EduMatch book idea, and I knew I wanted to do it again, but an idea wasn't something that I was formulating in my head at the time, and it wasn't something that I thought, oh, I've got to share this, or I think this would inspire another educator. But one day, Cathy and I were doing the Cathy Christy moment of connecting through Voxer, and I thought, this is something we need to talk about. Cathy, we need to write up, because both of us have grown over the past year of being connected in a way that I think most of the educators out there who are connecting through Twitter and Voxer, and I'm going to stick with those two for a minute because that's how we are, don't really realize that you can establish a very in-depth connection. Not just a connection that is, I put a question out there and somebody responded, I put a question out there and somebody responded. It was a by chance moment that I was really, really, really behind in Voxes, like hundreds of Voxes and catching up. So I didn't feel like it was appropriate for me to jump in a big Voxer group moment and answer a question Cathy had posed. So I sent her what we term as a side Vox, a private message between the two of us, and answered a question. And then the next thing we knew, we started a pretty much daily, multiple times a day dialogue. And I realized that Cathy and I had started almost co-teaching and co-planning. And I got so excited listening to Cathy try a new idea or try to work out a problem or struggle through something in her classroom. And it gave me, I felt like I was with her. I was thinking, what could we do differently? And how could we do this better? And let me think of an idea. And the real turning point for me came when I realized that I was working locally with a group of teachers that I had here in West Texas, and they had an issue, and Cathy's voice explaining something and saying the same thing started playing in my head, and I realized she's affecting my problem of practice right here with my own group of teachers, and this is powerful. This in-depth connection has become a powerful moment, and we've become co-teachers together in a classroom for ESL adult learners in Michigan. And likewise, Cathy has started leading professional development workshops to groups of teachers in West Texas. So that's my version of a nutshell of what our chapter is about. Cathy, what do you think that people are going to grasp when they read our chapter?
Well, I hope they grasp the collaboration, the power of the collaboration. I hope they get a sense of what happened in the class, what happens in the classroom from what we wrote, and then the videos that we added. Because it was time consuming in a sense, but then again, it wasn't that time consuming because it wasn't time consuming. I'm going to take that back. It requires commitment on both of our parts. And having the support, knowing that I had a go-to person that was really interested in, collaborating and working with me and coaching me in the process, empowered me to do it. I couldn't have done it without Christy. And I can't even put it into words still. But the results are just a few snippets, what you see in the chapter. And if anybody wants to try it, it's possible. It's not hard. It just takes time and commitment. But I don't think it takes more time. It took less, for me anyway, way less time than if I had tried to get a mentor locally, and then we'd have to hook up and figure out, I don't know, maybe I could have found someone that could do it on Voxer, but locally there isn't the support that there is with the large Voxer group. And
you know what, Cathy? I hope that they realize that what happened between us in mentoring each other was organic. It wasn't something we set out to go, oh, let's do this way. It just was a seamless moment that transitioned. And one of the things that I really love about looking back at our chapter is that Cathy was very intentional about finding some specific examples to share with the reader, to share with the listener on, hey, by the way, here's what I was doing before in class. Here's something I changed, a tweak, a tiny difference that made all the difference in the world for my students. And I hope that I'll go ahead and share this little bit. If you're in our chapter, we actually put in snippets of our boxes where you can follow along with our conversation.
Yes. And what I love about it,
Go
ahead. I was going to say one of the many things I love about what we did, and this might lead to the next question, but it's like, where are we going from here? Was we have documentation. The Voxes are documentation of our process. I have video documentation through Seesaw of class. And then, of course, I have all the docs and the forms and all the stuff that was created with the students' work right on it. So it's not theoretical. It's all based on sound pedagogy, but there's nothing theoretical about what we did. We did it. We implemented things. We changed my students' lives. We brought my students up to the next level in many ways, and certainly brought myself up to the next level. And I know it sounds like for Christy too.
Yes, and we made some decisions to start driving data instead of being so completely data driven and saying this might not work, or we don't have evidence that we should do this. We said, hey, let's try this. And Cathy's been quick to say, hey, Christy, this didn't work. This little thing we tried here, this did not work. I'm going to change and do this, but I'm holding on to the concept. Yep. And that's been great for us to say we can be flexible because we're not so confined by the typical norm. Right. And teacher mentorship, and then having co-teacher moments.
Yeah. All right, so I have to say that when I was reading this chapter, it made me a little misty because I kind of saw it unfold in real time, but I had no idea that y'all were writing this chapter together. But that is such a great story. So for any other educators who want to kind of follow in your footsteps, what advice would you give them? Like, how can they grow their networks and begin to connect to one another in a way that you all have done?
Take the risk to be vulnerable. Online can be a little bit, you're hiding behind some anonymity, and so it kind of protects you. And you can be picky about the things you reveal and say and do, and you can come across very squeaky clean in your practice. But take the risk to be vulnerable with another educator who's going through some of the same things you are, and benefit from the sharing that comes from taking that risk.
And I think that's what the large Voxer group did for me very early on, was hearing people sharing all kinds of things, the education based, some things were personal, but I began to get a feel and a flavor and a flow of all these educators out there that are, in the large Voxer group, there's a commitment to empowering our students. And that gave me the courage to start SideVox, or to start asking things and putting questions out there. And knowing that what I said didn't have to be perfect, even though I do recall Voxes often. But I didn't have to be perfect. Other people don't have to be perfect. But by that willingness to support each other, to listen to each other and support each other, we can grow. We will grow. So even before Christy and I hooked up, I was hooked on Voxer, on the large group, because of what I just said. And then when Christy answered with the side Vox, and then, you know, you were very encouraging to, you know, if I had other questions, or, you know, you kept letting me know that you were available. And at first, you know, I thought, boy, I don't want to take up other people's time. Everybody's busy. But when I realized that it was mutually beneficial, then I became more willing to be, you know, vulnerable and say, well, I don't know how to do this. I want to do that. I need help with this. Do you have any ideas? And, you know, now sometimes I just vent. and, you know, I said, look, this is a venting box. And I don't necessarily want to put that out to the whole group, but because we have the relationship. And, you know, Christy knows my, you know, she doesn't know everything about all my students, but she's seen pictures, she's seen videos, she's heard me talk about them. She knows my plight with the standardized testing that I'm not alone with, but, you know, that just drives me nuts. And so I can say stuff. And, you know, a lot of times I don't need a solution, but many times it's, well, you know, do you have any thoughts or ideas on this? And,
yeah, definitely. Wow, that is just so great to see how this friendship has evolved throughout the time that y'all have been connected. So, how do y'all plan to continue the conversation? Like, because I know that this conversation will be ongoing, but what are the next steps after this? Like, do y'all plan to do any kind of well, you all have already collaborated, but what's next?
You know, like in any relationship and friendship and working situation, and you take one day at a time. And now that we've established the relationship, which many of us in education have realized that's so poignant with our students and with our coworkers, that relationships sometimes will get you way further than knowledge base and content experience, etc. And so I think that now that we have that relationship established, looking forward, we realize that we may go a day or two and not have anything we need to share or talk about, but at any given time, when someone has something to discuss, we can say it, we can do it, we can leave a message, we can ask a question. We're thankful for the Voxer platform because that's our easiest mode of communication. And I think that moving forward, we will continue this as we need it, but we look forward to meeting in real life, face to face. This is our first time virtual meeting.
That's right. That's right. You know, and we could get on Skype or Google Hangout anytime, but Voxer is so convenient. You can be anywhere. You pick up the phone, push a button, and you can talk. And where, you know, Hangouts and Skype are great too, but they're a lot, you have to be in a certain place. You can't be driving.
And Kathy's a morning person and I'm a night person. So many times Kathy will leave 5 or 6 boxes in the morning when she gets up and going, or when she wakes up and thinks of something exciting and she knows that it may be 10 or 11 o'clock at night before Christy listens and answers and responds. And we like that convenience, and it doesn't cause any conflict because we realize that's the beauty of the platform, allows that moment to happen.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And I just want to add one thing that I have, I've started doing this year, in addition to the Voxes, because when we tried to transcribe some of the Voxes, or when I tried to, it was getting time consuming, but it was so worth it. I wanted to keep doing it. But now, when I Vox Christy, voice Vox, I'll put a little summary, a little verbal summary, so that it's easier for both of us to go back and remind ourselves what the Vox or the conversation was about.
Yeah, she leaves written subheadings.
Yeah. And then
so
I
see the text, and then I listen to the Vox.
Yeah, exactly. And it helps both of us. And the other thing that I'm trying to do is put up more pictures and videos to support the topics that we're discussing. And any one or more of the topics, if we decide next year we want to do another chapter, or who knows what we might end up doing together. There's more. I just feel like I have a better documentation process has evolved out of our writing the chapter. You there?
Did we lose Sarah again?
I think so.
Oh, wait.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Can
you.
you
What's
hear
up, Sarah?
Okay, great. Sorry about that. All right, so yeah, that's fantastic. I love that tip about like the summaries. So that is just fantastic, and always love chatting with both of you. So all right, so the last question I have for both of you is where can online. So for those of you who may not already be connected with you, where can we find you online?
I am at Christy Cate, ChristYCate, on Voxer, on Twitter, on Snapchat, on Google Plus. Just reach out in any of those platforms, whatever is comfortable for you. And by all means, I'm always open to collaborate.
Yeah, and I'm on Voxer mainly. I do have a Google Plus account. I just put my Twitter handle. I texted it out. Did you see that?
At
Yeah. So at
Wolfe underscore.
Christy.
Yeah, at Wolfe, WOLFE _ GHESL.
Yes. Yeah.
She's the ESL queen right there.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm not sure if there's any other good ways to reach me. Voxer this way. I think that's the best ways.
That's awesome.
That's a great way to reach you. So thank you both for taking the time out to come on and to talk with our viewers and our listeners, because this will be put into podcast form and tweeted out over the next few weeks. Cannot wait to see your chapter. It is fire. So can't wait for EduSnap 17 to come out and everybody to get your great insight. So just wanted to thank a huge shout out to Valerie and to Regina, who were in the YouTube live comments along with us. So
Oh, really?
to see y'all. Yeah, absolutely. So they're on the YouTube live page. So tomorrow we are going to be Stephen Hughes from Brazil at 12 p.m. Eastern. So find us, not same bad time, but the same bad channel, podcast.edumatch.org/free talk. So see you all then. Have a great one.
Bye.